A Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
You know about the shoulder touch? Of course I do, but tell me anyway. Tomorrow, in front of that girl, you walk up to her and be like, hey, welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. It's episode 59.5, and I'm Max.
I'm Chris.
I'm Darcy.
Here we are. We're doing a bonus one today. I'm sorry about my voice. If it sounds like I'm not enthusiastic, it's just that I think I'm dying.
It's just because you're not enthusiastic.
Yeah. We're talking about the Spider-Man one that came out the other day.
Wednesday?
We all saw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's watching it. The No Way Home. I had to look at the title for a minute. I was like, have I got that right? They all have home in the title.
Yeah, they all sound
They all
really
sound exactly
similar.
the same.
I imagine that, because obviously they're doing another trilogy, I imagine they won't have home in the title and they'll just keep it to like the home trilogy.
Yeah. The next one will be like the Bug trilogy.
Yeah.
Spider-Man fights a scorpion. Because like they had that end teaser at the end of Homecoming with the Scorpion guy. But we never got anything to do with that. Ever. So we're still waiting on that John Watts and Disney. So yeah, we saw that one. And it was directed by John Watts. And everyone's seen it. So everyone spoiled the shit out of it. But I didn't get anything spoiled for me. Luckily. What's it about? It's about it's about Spider-Man. He's back and he's Tom Holland and he's in the MCU and he's graduating from school, and then he's like, Doctor Strange, you gotta make a spell so that everyone forgets I'm Peter Parker, because in the last movie Mysterio revealed to everyone that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. So he's like, you gotta fix this shit, man. And Doctor Strange's like, I don't want to fucking do that. And so he does it. And everything goes crazy and everyone comes in. You got the classics. You got your classic villains from other timelines and other Spider-Man movies that come in. It's all bonkers. Peter has to figure out how to get them back to their timeline without killing them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the movie.
That's the movie.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Should we start off like without going spoiler-y with it? Just talk about surface level and then go into spoilers later?
Sure.
Cool.
What do we think?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like easily the best of the MCU Spider-Man films, I'd say.
Yeah, it was goofy. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just having a whale of a time. Really fun time. I do think it's the best of the MCU ones. It was pretty interesting. I think John Watts is not someone I've really cared for doing the Spider-Man movies, but like, you know, they're always fine. They're always fun. But like, I don't feel like he has much of a personality put into them. But I kind of feel like in this one he changed a lot, or like he improved a lot as a director.
Yeah. Especially visually, I think it looks good. There's a lot of like really good cinematography and stuff in the movie, which is something that I wouldn't say about the other two. I think a lot of the action sequences are all really well choreographed and a lot of fun as well, which similarly I wouldn't say about the others.
Well, has he done all three of these?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I guess he's a safe bet, you know? He didn't direct.
Yeah, he's like
fine.
the only person in the MCU to direct an entire trilogy.
Yeah, that's all right. Good for him.
Yeah, like they're fine. Like I watched the second one before obviously watching this one because I don't know, maybe we needed some context to it, which to be honest, in the first 2 minutes they basically tell you what happens at the end of the other film anyway, so I felt like I didn't even need to watch it.
No.
If I'm honest.
No, not really.
Yeah, I like that second movie, but not a lot it really happens apart from the ending and obviously Peter Parker and MJ getting together.
Yeah, I feel like I could have not watched it and felt exactly the same, or like gotten this, you know what I mean? Like I didn't miss anything. I felt like I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that second movie, Far From Home, is quite fun. I really like that a lot. I think mostly because of like the villain. I really like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I think he's like the best one that Spider-Man's fought in this universe so far. In terms of like base level thoughts of No Way Home, I think I was really having a great time. I do have my gripes with it, but mostly, like, it's 2.5 hours. It didn't really feel like it. I was kind of just feeling like, wow, I could just sit in here forever. I could just watch this Spider-Man doing shit forever, you know? It's really, really entertaining. I think it's a massive crowd pleasure and really great step up from, like, you know, Shang-Chi and Eternals wasn't really well received, but I haven't seen that yet because I don't want to.
Even Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah.
I liked that, but this is far better.
Yeah, I think it tries more. I think it takes a few more risks, which is not something I thought I'd say with like a John Watts Spider-Man movie, but like, I was happy to see kind of just them pushing the boat out a little bit at being quite strange and weird in the way that Spider-Man can be, and exploring these different like multiverse type thing that is so entrenched within the character. I'm really pleased that they actually went into that with this one.
Yeah.
I also like they didn't take it too seriously. Like, you know how all these Marvel films are like really, really dark and serious, and this I mean, it did have elements of that, but it was, I don't know, I felt like it was more goofy, like how Spider-Man should be. But then that's how we know Spider-Man in it to be.
I think
goofy.
it reminds me a lot of the Sam Raimi movies and how it kind of balances the very like dark, serious stuff with the very silly stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Spider-Man's a funny character.
Yeah.
He's great.
You can't. I wouldn't want like a serious Spider-Man movie. I wouldn't want like
I
don't know, like Winter Soldier levels of like taking it too seriously with the Spider-Man movie, because he's a kid. He fucks up a lot and he's a bit stupid at times, but like that's what we need from this character.
I think that's something that all of the live action movies have kind of done well. Even those Amazing Spider-Man movies, they still had a strong sense of humour.
Yeah. I really like Tom Holland as well.
Yeah.
In this part, I would really like fallen in love with his iteration of Spider-Man. I think here's where like it really cemented it for me. I was like, yeah, you know what? He's really doing fantastic work with this character. I think he's such a good actor. He really portrays the character very well.
He is really great, and it's nice to see him in this movie standing on his own as a character instead of like almost like living in the shadow of Tony Stark, like I think he did in the previous two movies. Like in the first movie, obviously he's being trained by Stark. Then in the second movie, he's like spends the whole movie mourning him and like trying to come to terms with having to take his place. But in this movie, it kind of feels less like that and more like he's just standing on his own.
Yeah. Well, they're like literally like in that last movie, they're like giving him the Tony Stark glasses, like here's for the new Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It's like nobody wants that.
we just want a Spider-Man. Whatever.
Just want him done well.
I actually think it was done quite well, to be fair. Like, I don't know. I like watching all three of them together. It was quite sweet, actually. But I mean, I haven't seen the Andrew Garfield one, so there was like some references that I didn't quite get, and then I was talking to Chris afterwards, and then he had to explain things to me.
We just jumped into spoilers
should we get
already.
spoilers?
No, I haven't said anything yet. But when we get
three
there,
of them.
oh well,
That's a
okay, all
spoiler.
three of them.
They kept it a
sorry.
secret.
It was the worst kept secret ever.
Yeah, I mean,
to be
I
quite
think most
honest.
people knew.
I didn't find out about anything in this movie until I saw the movie.
No, so it was Chris that told me, because I was like, oh, everyone already had known that at least one of them was going to be in it, at least from what I've seen. But some other people didn't know about the other one. So Chris was like, oh yeah, I only know one spoiler, do you want to hear it? And I was like, and then I said, oh, it is da. And then he was like, yeah. So I was like, oh. So
All right, let's just get into spoilers, shall we?
Just do it.
You know, Spider-Man turns up, and he's also the other two Spider-Mans that we know who turns up. We got Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and they're here now, coming in from their respective universes.
So, Max, I got you obviously went to go see it at a different point.
Yeah.
How did everyone react when both of them arrived? Because for some reason, Andrew Garfield got like the biggest whoa, and then Tobey Maguire was just like, oh, no, Tobey Maguire was there. I was like, what the fuck?
Maybe it's because he looks really old and no one recognised
Yeah, I don't think anyone recognised him.
Nobody really said anything in my theatre. I guess people just knew.
We had a lot of cheering.
Yeah, we
when,
had. Yeah, we were.
Yeah, when Andrew Garfield showed up and when Matt Murdock showed up at the beginning.
Yeah, everyone was like, woo, and then when Tobey Maguire was there, everyone was like, because everyone seemed to be really confused.
Yeah, there was a lot of like gasps and stuff
really?
more than like cheers.
I really like the inclusion of these other characters that we know from different properties like Charlie Cox showing up for that one scene
Yeah.
as Daredevil. That was awesome.
That
I
was
really liked
incredible.
that. He
I
like
thought-
saves Peter from the brick. It was so cool.
Yeah, because I know Kevin Feige said not that long ago that when they do eventually bring Daredevil into the MCU, he's still going to be played by Charlie Cox. So I
Yeah,
thought that was a good introduction to the character.
I didn't understand though, like why what's he there for?
He was a lawyer.
Not in the not like that, but I mean like in the MCU, like what, like how does he come in? What happens? I don't understand. I didn't get any of it.
I think it's just to establish the character. It's like, here he is.
Yeah.
We all know him from
Oh,
the
okay.
Netflix one. So.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to, if that's them saying that the Netflix shows are canon, because I know in the Netflix shows they are set in the MCU technically, like they reference events from like Avengers and stuff.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
so then.
I don't know. I'm going to hold off saying my thoughts on that at the moment because I know you guys haven't seen something in particular relating to the shows that it's doing on Disney Plus, so I won't go
Okay.
into that. But I think, if anything, I think it's. I'm not sure, but I think it does show that we'll probably get something to do with Daredevil. I'd like a Daredevil movie.
Yeah,
I would.
same.
I really liked the show. I really thought that was very well done.
Yeah, I
think-
didn't finish the show, but I really loved, especially the first season. I thought that was
First
really
season's great.
fantastic.
I do feel like they should make a new Daredevil movie. Like if they're going to remake any movie, it should be that very great Daredevil movie that came out.
And Charlie Cox is fantastic.
Yeah.
as Daredevil. So
He was my
yeah.
favourite superhero as a kid, so I was like really heartbroken when I watched that Ben Affleck movie.
It was not good. I mean, apparently as a kid I quite liked it.
Yeah, I think I liked it like the first time I watched it, and I watched it again. I was like, this actually sucks.
I haven't watched it since.
It is really bad.
I've
but-
heard nothing but bad things.
I'm excited for that, honestly. This is kind of like, I got out of this and I was like, yeah, you know what? That was really great. I really loved that. And it's like, it kind of like revitalized my love of this franchise, I think. It was like, yeah, you know what? I do like these Marvel movies. It's just they were so often bombarded by
Yeah.
shit. Just every so often, it's like, here, have a Shang-Chi. Here, have a fucking Eternals. Have a
Shang-Chi.
Black Widow. And it's like, who cares about these
Yeah.
other ones?
That's the thing. I do like this franchise. It's just that we've had so many just dull points recently.
Yeah.
So many things that I just don't care about.
See,
that I just
I-
kind of lost interest. I wouldn't say this has completely revitalized my interest in the MCU, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely left it with a kind of more excited for some of the upcoming movies that before I didn't really care too much for.
I really don't care about the MCU,
Yeah.
to be honest. But I really love Spider-Man, so it was kind of like now that they're all sort of like coming together, I sort of got to take it all as a package deal. But
Yeah.
to be honest, Spider-Man, like as a standalone, I would watch any film with Spider-Man in it. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
We got so many iterations of Spider-Man in the works, you know, at the moment. You got like the video game, you got this MCU ones, you got Spider-Verse. You know, there's no shortage of like really good Spider-Mens, you know. That being said, I think the inclusion of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I haven't seen those amazing Spider-Man movies, but I don't really feel like I needed to all that much. I kind of got the gist.
Yeah.
But like, I really liked their inclusion, but I also felt like that was all they were going to do with them. It was like, here's something for you guys, and then like everyone cheers, and then they're never going to come back. I don't
Yeah.
feel like they'll come back.
No,
No, of
I
course
felt
not.
like it was. I mean, as great as it was, I felt like it was a little bit like phoned in. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna be in this film,"
Yeah,
and I was just
it
like,
was
"Oh,
like
okay."
super fan servicey.
Yeah,
Like,
it
they
wa-
don't need to do much more with it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, they could have just been standing
Yeah.
around the whole thing, and I would have been like, "Oh look, they're
Should have
still
just gone
there."
to get pizza and like that'd have been it. I would have been like, fine.
I think you can kind of tell that Andrew Garfield's having a great time, but
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire doesn't really want to be there.
Like, yeah, you can definitely tell. Like the dynamic is
Yeah.
just like Tobey Maguire's like, "I am here," and
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield's like, "I am here." I love it.
He like comes in from his universe and he's just like dressed like a dude.
I
He's
like
just
that-
got like plain clothes on. He's like, oh yeah.
No, but I
okay.
do kind of appreciate that because there were lots of, obviously we watched the Sam Raimi ones before we watched this one, so like your memory's a
Mhm.
bit more fresh. But he did always often have times where he was wearing a suit underneath his clothes anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that is kind of fitting to him. He would do that. But I don't know
Yeah.
if Andrew Garfield would walk around in just his Spider-Man suit.
He was
like
probably
a
just
normal
doing
guy.
shit, you know.
Yeah.
He's probably out being Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't know. But still.
Yeah, I don't like those Amazing Spider-Man movies, but I did like Andrew Garfield a lot in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He was quite sweet, I would
He
say.
was really sweet. I think
Yeah.
like the whole dynamic of the three Spider-Mans was like really wholesome, and like I think they really got as much out of that as they could have
Yeah.
without like being too forced.
Yeah, and especially if you're not going to do it again. Because I assume this is the only time that is going to
Yeah, of
happen.
course. This is like going to be the last time either of them play Spider-Man, I
Yeah, I'd
think.
assume.
But I like that. I think it was just like quite emotional when it needed to be. Like the movie as a whole was quite emotional. I
Yeah.
was like tearing up quite a bit. But like definitely like with the dynamic between these three Spider-Mans, like they're like hugging and like they're saying like they love each other. It was so nice. It's like it's just these three
Yeah,
Peter Parkers coming together, trying to team up and defeat the bad guys. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Three people who like are very different, but also like share the same sort of morals and kind of understand what each other are going through.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, who's the best bad guy you ever fought?" And like just like these quips that you could only get with like three Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Because they are so they are similar, you know, obviously, but like it's like, oh, I went to space and I thought a purple alien, and Tobey Maguire's like, I thought a black alien, and he was made of goo. Also, like this bonding over their losses and like the people that they've lost. There's obviously Aunt May dies in this one, Marissa Tomei, which is quite
That was sad as fuck.
sad as hell.
It's like a proper Lion King moment where he's like holding the corpse saying, please
It was
don't be dead.
horrible. It was
Oh, yeah, that
so
was
sad.
horrific. I'm not even like all at that. Well, obviously, because I only watched the previous one recently. I don't know. I'm not like overly invested, but even I was like, oh my God. I kept going,
Yeah.
oh no. Just turning around. And
I've
going,
seen the other two
"No."
movies a couple times and I'm not really invested with that character, but it's a sad moment.
That was sad.
His like acting, Tom Holland's acting in that is just like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He's fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, he's really, really great throughout the whole movie, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like him as Spider-Man. Like at first, I wasn't too sure because I was like, I'm like a purist. I was like, oh, how dare anyone take over Tobey Maguire? How dare they? And then I was like, oh, actually, he's really
Yeah.
good. I don't know. He's I think he does kind of fit the character better than Tobey Maguire did. No offense to Tobey Maguire, because
I wasn't sure about him either when they first announced who was going to be playing him. It wasn't until I saw him first in like I think Civil War when I was like, okay, yeah, he can do this.
Yeah, he's very good at it. I said like in the Spider-Man episode we talked about like Tobey Maguire wouldn't work in this universe, and I still kind of think that. But
do you know
like,
what? I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would have been.
I think he was good as a one-off, but like
Yeah.
if they continued having him in there, I don't know if he would have worked.
I don't think it would have worked. But I only think that as well because I think if Spider-Man's meant to be like a kid, I feel like I don't know, it relates more to someone who is obviously younger. I don't know. I saw Tobey Maguire in this movie and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think they made a good choice. I don't know. Like not no shade to him or anything. It was just when you see all three of them like in their dynamics, I also think that Tobey Maguire's a little bit like what Chris said. I think he's a bit jaded with it all, I guess. I don't think he really cares to revive his role in that sense.
Well,
I think he's
been a
kind of
while.
done with acting, to be fair. He doesn't really do it a lot anymore.
No, I can kind of understand why.
that's all right. I mean, I liked him. I liked him in this movie. But again, I wouldn't want to see him again. I'm happy with what we got from him.
Yeah, I got my fill. I was like, oh, he's there, yay. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he's gone, yay.
So what do we've sidestepped this, but what do we think of all the villains? You know, there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the fact that who's however the actor that plays Doc Ock,
Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
he's been very open about the fact that he didn't really want to do it. He just did it for the money.
Yeah.
But despite that, you can't really tell.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah,
in the movie.
like you wouldn't think that he was only there for the money, if that makes sense. It didn't feel phoned in, if that makes sense.
I would have liked to have seen him like a bit more evil the whole time.
Yeah, I think his arc like closed very quickly, if that makes sense. Like they were like, "Oh, you're the first one to become good. There you go."
Yeah, I think
And then
that
they
it
all
makes
leave.
sense.
Yeah,
It makes sense
It
for him to
does.
be the one that like turns good. The
Yeah, 'cause he's
quickest,
the-
because like
he's a scientist, man.
They're
yeah,
all
and there was like
scientists.
always
You know what I
some
mean.
level of good to him, even when he was being bad.
Yeah. I think none of the villains in this really hit as hard as like Mysterio did in the last one. I thought he was like Jake Gyllenhaal really nailed that character.
Yeah.
And like, he had a firm motivation for it. You knew why he was angry. You knew why he wanted revenge. And in this, it's like they're all displaced into this universe, but like they all want the same thing. And then Spider-Man racks them up and he puts them in the wizard dungeon, and like it's all dark as shit and under there, and they stay there for a while so they can be out of the action. And then they all get out and they're like, well, I guess we could be friends. And then they all leave because they don't want to be anymore, and Green Goblin shows up. I was like, okay, so what do these guys want? You know, they just want to like.
They don't want to die.
They don't want to
it.
die.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
think that's the. Do you know what? I think that is the only motive, isn't it? They stay there because they're like, oh, I'm not going back to my universe where I die. And
Except
it's
for
like,
Sandman,
oh, okay.
he doesn't die. He just like floated away.
And that's another thing. You know, we lamented the fact that Sandman was handled poorly in Spider-Man 3, but I also don't think he was done like really well in this
No, I
either.
don't think he was great. Out of all the
No.
villains, he was like one of my least favourites. Like it's him and the lizard thing from Amazing Spider-Man.
I feel
who's
like
barely
they
in
were
it.
hardly. Yeah, they were hardly in it. And to be honest, it was,
They were like, we left the lizard in the truck
yeah, like what the fuck was the point in putting them in there in the first place?
just to have him.
Yeah, I just felt like it could have just been done without, to be honest.
I think it could have literally just been Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Electro.
and that would have
and it
been
would've worked
fine.
well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have been fine with just Green Goblin.
Yeah.
In it, Electro just did not need to be there either. Like, what the fuck was the point in that as well? No offense to them either, but I just don't give a shit.
No. That being said, when Electro showed up, I was like, oh, this is so cool. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He's like this like shape of a human in like this ball of energy. It's so cool.
Yeah, he is literally completely different to how he is in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Isn't he meant to be like all blue?
Yeah,
I don't know.
in that film, he's
I
like
haven't seen
all
it, but
blue, and he's got like electricity in his veins and stuff.
that is pretty cool.
It's kind of cool, but also kind of lame. But he does like turn into like huge like balls of electricity at the end, but it's still not as cool as he is in this movie. Like especially when he first shows up and he's just like a human shaped like electrical thing.
Yeah. It's so cool. And that's the only time we get to see him like that as well.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame.
I mean, I guess there is only so much you can do with 5 villains in 2.5 hours, I suppose.
No, I don't know about that like last battle. I thought it was a bit messy. I don't liked it enough, but like they just like show up there and then they have a fight and then that's it.
Yeah, it kind of just is the.
And then like Green Goblin doesn't show up for like a bit to like make a dramatic entrance. He's like, I'm here now. And then they just fight and then that's it. I don't know. They're all trying to like cure all the guys with like this juice. They're like, we got to stab the juice into the bad guys so they'll be good. And then they do all that. And that's kind of it. I don't know. They kind of. I hate being like too negative on it because I did really enjoy it, but it was also like Doctor Strange shows up and he's like, everyone's coming through, Peter, you got to make a choice. So he's like, okay, everyone has to forget about me then, and then that's that, and then I don't know, like it felt like pointless almost.
Yeah. Does that make the whole film like null and void? Because like, why
That was
does
the
it
choice
even
you
matter?
had at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I get like he had to make that decision to learn from it, but it's also like, I also feel like a big problem I have with the movie is just the fact that everyone forgets about Peter is super fucking dumb.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And it undoes all the dynamics that they built up over the last 2 movies. You know, how does it work? How does he like he gets an apartment at the end, but like if nobody remembers who he is, does he have like qualifications? Does he have like records? Can he get a job if he's got like no credentials or anything?
Yeah, just make them up. Yeah, like I don't understand. Like,
I thought they were going to just do everyone forgets that he's Spider-Man.
That's
I think
what
that would have
I
made
thought.
more sense. But
I mean,
I guess they kind of want to almost like reset it so the next trilogy is its own separate thing.
I
which
was just thinking.
kind of makes sense, but is also like could lead to
But I
the
don't
next
like-
trilogy being
But are they
quite
going to
shit.
make another movie? Or are they going to make another trilogy of
Another
movies?
trilogy.
But the MCU is so much like this development of personal characters and like their ties to other characters.
So they've got to do it all over
to like
again.
erase
Yeah.
that from Spider-Man is like
It's
needless,
criminal a
in
little
my
bit, isn't
opinion.
it?
I don't feel like they needed to do it. I feel like they could have done something to where like you know, MJ remembered him and Ned remembered him. I don't know, like something. But like Doctor Strange is like, everyone's going to forget about you, Peter, and that's that. I can't do any magic because that's, I don't know, I feel like it.
Why do I get the feeling that there's probably going to be another point where, I don't know, either one of them will remember, or he'll go to Doctor Strange again and be like, "Oh, you remember me, mate?"
Yeah, Doctor Strange kind of just like vanishes at the end.
Memories, like
he doesn't even try to go and see him.
I don't understand, but then I don't understand the direction that they're going. Does anyone know about this like new trilogy of stuff?
No, they've not really said anything about it.
I don't understand this. You can't just end it there, surely. There's
To be fair, I don't even know if it's definitely going to happen, because although Tom Holland signed on for it, he's also said he's considering retiring from acting.
Tom Holland?
Yeah, he's having a bit of a pre-quarter life crisis.
Yeah, because he's like been acting since he was like a young kid, and he's kind of like, I want to try do something else.
Yeah, I think he said, didn't he say he wanted to do theatre or something?
Yeah,
which
like
is
musical
technically
work and
acting,
stuff.
but you know, slightly different.
Know. Don't sign on to the MCU then, where like contracts run for like 10, 15 years, 20 years.
I mean, to be fair though, maybe he didn't think that then though, but it's one of those things when you're younger, I guess you kind of, it's quite easy to like change your mind. And
Spider-Man
you know
is the biggest property that Marvel have.
Yeah.
Like it's so obvious they're going to use him like for as long as they can, surely.
Yeah, even once Tom Holland eventually stops playing the role, even after like the MCU eventually ends, I think they'll still make Spider-Man movies.
I mean,
in 2552.
I just pray they're not. I mean, at least some of them are going to be terrible because they're already there. But I mean,
I think the biggest problem I had with the whole movie is something that really didn't make sense, and how they were like, the whole point of the film was them trying to make these villains good. And then sending them back to their like timelines, like surely
they just die.
They die regardless, but then what if they like go back and they're good, and then doesn't that create like a huge like
doesn't
problem in that timeline?
Does that not unwrite the movies beforehand? Because if they're good and they never die,
that's not something you're supposed to think about, though.
Yeah, I know.
But like that was all I could think of, because I was like, this like makes no sense.
Yeah, same. That's what I felt when like they erased people's memories of Peter. I was like, how did that work? How the hell are you going to come back from this? Like, really, it's so silly. It's so silly. Yeah. I just feel like it's a massive kind of plot hole or like inconvenience where like they're really going to have to try to do something to like get out of this, because it's such a big thing to just
get rid
everyone
of
to
memories.
Forget about him. But I don't understand how they're going to crawl back from that.
That I didn't find like as confusing, because obviously that's like set in the present, but like they've made a huge deal recently in the MCU about tampering with like things that happen in the past.
Yeah.
That's basically what they do by making the villains good.
I mean,
they're going to sort that shit out in the Doctor Strange movie though, surely, because he did it.
I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Maybe. I actually quite like Doctor Strange in this film, which is something that I never thought I'd say, because I don't like...
Yeah,
I think he's been getting
Benedict
better.
Yeah, I didn't like him in the first Doctor Strange movie, but I enjoyed him with both those Avengers movies, and I like him a lot in this as well.
Yeah, I liked him in this, yeah. I don't know, it won't make me go and see the film, unless, wait, Chris told me that it was directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
so
it's
therefore
meant to be a horror movie.
I might have to see it because of that reason, and only that reason.
There was a post-credit scene, like right at the very end of Far From Home, is it? No Way Home, where like they show I don't know, for this
They're
movie.
All the same.
And, it showed like a trailer for Doctor Strange,
the
new one. I think they're gonna try to do some shit with that. It's like you did some bad shit, man. We got to sort you out, bro. You thought your actions wouldn't have consequences, well, they do. So that's what that's going to be about.
Yeah,
Oof.
And Venom's going to be in it, I guess.
That was. Do you know? I can't believe I stayed for that. What? Like, we were like, okay, we'll watch the first one.
Yeah, how do we feel about that? Tom Hardy coming in at the end.
That was fucking shit. I just don't. Yeah, I didn't care. I literally went, ooh, exciting.
That was another moment where like the crowd were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But
it was almost like I felt like it was completely pointless.
Yeah, but we all knew it was coming because they were it was the end of the last Venom film, so why was everyone so fucking surprised?
But then like they just resolved that in this. I feel it's like Probably Tom Hardy's not going to show up in the MCU past this. He's just going to leave the little Venom goop in this universe and then leave so that somebody else can be Venom.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure when he like left that universe was because Doctor Strange was pulling him in.
Yeah,
I think that was what they were trying to say, because he like gets like zapped up in the same way.
I've given up. I just don't. I mean, I love Venom, but I don't love this Venom. And if I don't know, I just want someone to do it properly. I want someone to not do it dirty. I just don't care.
I'd be interested to see how like the actual MCU handled the character, because I imagine it would probably be better than what Sony do.
It's gotta be better, man.
Anything has to be. Anything has to be. Like, and this is like no gripe against like Tom Hardy or anything. It's just, it's shit. It's just not good. It sucks.
I don't know. Do you not want to see like Tom Holland and Tom Hardy like in a room together?
I mean,
be like, all right.
well,
but like, I feel like to make a Venom a villain, in this you can't have Tom Hardy because he's just a guy. He's just a nice dude. He's a bit stupid, but like Venom's not like evil.
I think I think you need someone a bit more calculated. But then, can you do that? Can you just have a different Venom?
Sure, why not?
I imagine that's what they were doing with like where you got the goop on the counter.
Oh, well, so they're just going to be like,
up.
oh, you deal with this Venom.
The bartender will get the Venom, and he'll be the new Venom.
Do you know what?
No, they wouldn't do that. They have to get a actor that people know.
Yeah. we won't see that for like another 5 years, though.
No.
Ah, well.
We haven't talked about Willem Dafoe in the movie.
Yeah.
As Green Goblin.
Quite possibly the best part of the film.
He's great.
He is great in the movie.
I love him.
Yeah. He's always been really good. Nobody else could have played this character, I think. And I like how they show just like this inner turmoil with him and the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I think that was probably what was needed instead of him being like a straight up bad guy. He does have this war inside him.
Yeah, because that's what he was like in the first Spider-Man movie. So it made a lot of sense for them to do that.
He came across as quite like simpering in this one, like really like down on his luck. You know, and like him killing Aunt May. You know, I think as much as I like Willem Dafoe, I feel like he had no real connection to Peter or Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He just like shows up and he's like, "Here I am," and then he kills Aunt May, and then Peter gets mad at him, and that's like I feel like there could have been more of a dynamic established between the two of them, perhaps. But then, like, when you're handling, like, 5 other villains, like, can you really do that much with it? I don't know.
Not really.
That's why I feel like perhaps they should have just gone with Green Goblin for this one.
Yeah, I did really appreciate that Willem Dafoe did a lot of, like, the physical stuff himself. Because it looks really good.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was, like, really... That was something he, like, insisted on. He was like, I'm only doing this character again if I can do all the physical stuff, because, like, if I don't do that, then I'm not really playing the character.
Well, respect to him.
There's like a great kind of sequence at the end where Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Willem Dafoe, where like they're just fighting on like hand-to-hand combat. It was like not something I'd seen Spider-Man do before, really, but it was like really well choreographed, and like you see like the rage within Tom Holland's acting, just like really going down on him. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
You really thought like, yeah, he's gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah,
he beats the shit out of him.
It is really impressive to see a like 66-year-old man like do those sort of things.
It was like really violent as well. I was like, shit, this movie is violent, man.
Yeah,
he's like getting thrown into walls and fucking just smack the shit out of him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he was alive by the end of it, to be honest. Like the amount of shit that he had like gone through
it's like
in them hours.
One of the first times I can think of in the MCU where they've actually shown like a lot of like blood throughout as well. Like especially when Aunt May dies and there's like blood everywhere.
Well, the thing is, they bleed. Like what,
of course, but like these films
you have to restrict
kids,
that with like like kids movies. You know, they're 12 rated.
12
you can't show as much blood as like I don't know a Tarantino movie. You know. You know, just spill it everywhere. Kids are going to be like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, I really enjoyed all that stuff. Just like the choreography I felt was like so much better than the other Spider-Man movies that we've seen in terms of like Tom Holland Spider-Man's movies.
Yeah.
and I like the fact that we get like that more hand-to-hand style of combat, and it doesn't happen much, but like, because mostly you equate it to like his kind of tricks that he does with like the webs and all the swinging, which I also found was like, oh, how can you have a Spider-Man movie without him swinging through New York? And like, that's not something we've really gotten from the Tom Holland ones all that much. Like, he's swinging everywhere in this movie. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, that's one of like my favorite things about the character, is just seeing him like just swing around in New York. That's why I loved that PlayStation game so much, because that was like, I used to spend hours just swinging around.
I do also like the fact that the three Spider-Man talk about the web shooting, which is something that we were talking about when we were watching the original three. He was like, oh, what, so they come from your wrist, or they come from anywhere else? And I was like, finally someone has asked the question, and he didn't answer it.
Yeah, that's like, I feel like this film has a lot of like fan service in it, but I think it handles it really well.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, I'd say there's only a few points where I was like, that is just like kind of cringy, like just nostalgia baiting, as if like kind of like what the sequel Star Wars movies did.
Yeah,
like,
it's like that point where Willem Dafoe says, I'm something of a scientist myself.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Everyone starts laughing. Wait, start clapping. Oh, I remember that. Okay.
It's just like pointless.
Even when he was saying it, I felt like, you know what I mean? You know, like when someone just doesn't want to say the line. That's what it felt like. I was like, don't say it, don't do it. And a bit like when Aunt May's like paraphrasing whatever Uncle Ben has said, and then
I didn't have
Tom
any
Holland,
issues
responsibility.
yeah.
I quite like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that he needed to be told before.
Yeah, because it's like
but could they not have just
Spider-Mans.
quoted it word for word? They didn't have to reword it.
No, I don't care.
Well, I do. I cared very
It
much.
doesn't matter.
I cared a lot. I was like, just quote it. Just Uncle Ben that
Because
shit.
it's something that he needs to be Spider-Man. You know, he needs to be told that. That's like a really big thing with the character that we got into on the last episode where we talked about Spider-Man. The Sam Raimi ones, it's like, that's like a code that he lives by.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was said from the first film, which would have...
Yeah, I like how they kind of just like show where these characters are at now, like years later, like years after their respective movies, and kind of they reference back to what happened in the past, and for the most part I think it all works really well. I was like surprised at how much Amazing Spider-Man fan service there was that actually worked really well, like especially all the stuff with like how he references Gwen Stacy, his girlfriend who died, and then basically recreate that scene where she like falls from the top of a tower with MJ in this movie, and he's the one who has to save her.
Yeah.
I thought that was
he was
really
going to save
great.
her. I was like, he needs to do that, because I haven't seen those Amazing Spider-Man movies, but I do know about that moment.
Oh, see, I didn't know about
He
it.
needs to do that.
That was like the only part in the film I actually teared up. And
I was like, oh fuck.
I was really mad at the movie for making me tear up over an Amazing Spider-Man reference.
So yeah, I didn't understand it, so Chris had to explain it to me later, because I was like,
that was really
it makes
great.
sense now.
I loved it. He referenced before, he was like, I couldn't save Gwen Stacy, and he does it in this. I was like, this is so much like that scene from the Amazing Spider-Man movie, like with her just falling through the air. I was like, he needs to save her, and he needs to be the one to do that, and he did, and he like starts like almost crying, but she doesn't understand why he's crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so nice.
And obviously you've got Tobey Maguire also references him and MJ and how they're making their relationship work, and how it's
Do you know what,
I liked that as well.
I kind of wish that so me and Chris were talking about it afterwards, and he was like, oh, I would have liked to have seen like them back in their universes. And to be honest, I think I would have liked to have seen it myself.
Yeah.
I want to know how MJ's doing.
Yeah,
a
it
bit
would have
of
been
Castle
nice,
Dance.
but I do get why they didn't do that. Like, I think it makes sense where they leave the characters.
It does. It's just I don't know. I feel like for me, I would have liked a little bit of extra service, just a little bit.
I'm happy with what we got. To
Yeah.
be honest. It's 2.5 hours long, you know.
Like, no, just 10 seconds. I just want 10 seconds of Mary Jane on screen going, "Hi, Peter's back." That's it. That's all I wanted.
She's
But
a
it's
bit,
fine.
you know,
I'm fine. I just
can't
I
get Kirsten
dream.
Dunst in, she's too expensive.
yeah.
She probably wouldn't want to do it anyway.
Don't blame her, to be honest, but still.
I think a big thing that's established with these Spider-Man movies is that Spider-Man as a character, he doesn't kill people, which I really like about the character.
Yeah.
But I also feel, and it's not really a criticism against this movie, but more like the MCU as a whole, is like, why do you establish that with Peter Parker, but not with literally anyone else aside from like Daredevil?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Why is he the one? You know, why is he the one that won't kill?
He was always
Iron
like
Man
that in the
kills
comics,
people.
though. It's kind of similar to Batman. Like, they both refuse to kill people. They want to save people before they kill them.
Is he better than everyone else? I don't know.
Morally, I
like,
would say.
yeah. There's like, I know you guys haven't seen it, but like in the Hawkeye show, there's a scene where like a 22-year-old just explodes a van with a dude in it.
Oh,
But like
fuck.
she's painted as a hero for doing that, and I'm like, well, what? Like, she has no repercussions whatsoever. She's never killed a man, and she just like,
Wait, what was this man bad?
yeah, they were like chasing after them on the highway, and like they're in a van. So she shoots an arrow at the van, and the van explodes.
What
Which is
the
not, I don't
fuck?
consider a spoiler. It's just what happens in any MCU movie. You know, just explosions
Yeah.
happen.
What
Yeah.
the
But like,
hell?
she has never killed anyone, and she's 22 years old, and she just does it, and then like there are no repercussions for that. There's nothing that weighs heavily on her. She's never like, oh fuck, I've just killed a dude. It's just she's just fine with it.
Yeah. To be fair, neither of us are going to watch Hawkeye,
Yeah.
so I don't care if you spoil it.
Yeah, definitely not. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if why it's like one rule for one hero and then like not another one, because like they were about the same age as well. So like I found that quite strange.
I guess it's all about that character's specific moral compass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man seems to be the only one with a moral compass, apparently. So, oh wow.
I love how they show his like Spidey sense as Peter Tingle with like a dolly zoom.
Yeah.
Every time that happens, I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. They've not like done that before with these movies. It's like you actually feel like it's happening, and you understand like what he's feeling and the sensation that he's feeling when he gets there.
Yeah, there's that like really, really great bit where they're in Happy's like apartment complex, and he can like sense something, and he isn't sure what's happening. It's like really, really tense, like really atmospheric music. It's like
It's
really,
like he's
really
drunk.
great. It's like he's like suddenly super anxious, like about to have a panic attack, like trying to work out what he can sense.
It was a great reveal as well. It was like, oh, Norman is bad again.
Yeah.
Shit.
I was
His,
waiting
like,
for.
his evil grin. His like his smile just like
Yeah.
it literally twists into a smile. He's such a fantastic actor. He can do all this.
I was
all these
so
things
happy
with
to
his
see
face.
that smile.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I was like, so at what point is he gonna snap?
Would have liked to have seen the mask a bit more. Kind of got destroyed like
Yeah.
really early on.
Fuck this. And you only see it like on him once. I really like that mask a lot.
Yeah. Like I know Green Goblin wearing a hood is like meant to be quite a famous like design of his from the comics also, but I just really like that design in the original movie.
Yeah, Mask was
And
cool.
it works. I was also like just surprised with like how much worked from taking from these other movies that were, you know, those Sam Raimi ones that were like 20 years ago now. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, you know, and they still work so well. The Green Goblin suit, it looks great. The Doc Ock arms, do they use it practically? It doesn't seem like it. They were.
No.
Honestly, no. But
Pretty
What-
much
what-
all of Alfred Molina's CGI because he looks really old now.
Yeah,
He's
why would
he's
quite
anyone?
overweight as well.
Why would anyone do practical effects?
I think
anymore?
most of his performance was mocap, I think.
you kind of tell, to be honest.
Yeah. But at the same time, it does look quite seamless. There's
Yeah.
definitely points where you're like, oh yeah, that looks a bit off. But
Mhm. Yeah.
I think the only character that I didn't think looked great was Sandman. I didn't
Yeah.
think the effects work on him were that amazing.
He was just a guy. Just like a guy made of sand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't find it all that awkward. My problems with Sandman are just like, I feel like he was inconsequential.
Yeah, he didn't need to be there.
No, he didn't, which is quite sad actually. I mean-
he's like, oh, I'm all right. You know, I'm gonna help you, Peter, I guess. And then like, just at the end, Peter's like, Flint, we can help all these guys. We can save them. He's like, I don't care. And then he just punches him. and
Yeah,
that's
it made no sense because like his whole like arc throughout the movie is that he wanted to go home so he can see his daughter, and
I
then he
don't
just
get that.
randomly like changed his mind and started fighting Spider-Man.
Yeah, maybe he was
And they
just
didn't
like...
even like develop that at all, or like say he's changed his mind. He just
Did they even
snapped.
save him in the end? I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
goes back.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
he was like wasn't it in the head of the Statue of Liberty
Yeah,
or something,
Tobey
and he got
Maguire
stuck
comes
in
He's
there.
like, "You're going home, Flynn," and then he stabs him with the juice.
I didn't see him stab him with the juice.
Christ, all right.
Yeah, because he was like being sucked into the sand, wasn't he? His like hand was out, and he caught the juice and then like pulled it in.
Cool.
Did you even see this movie?
I did see this movie.
I really like the whole dynamic with MJ and Peter in this.
Yeah.
I think that Zendaya plays her super fucking well. It's like a really great iteration of the character. Probably my favourite that we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm even more mad that like now she's
Yeah.
done. Like that relationship is done basically. So I really would have liked just a bit more, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I
It's
think
like
she is really great in the movie.
Mm.
It's like the only MJ I haven't like hated.
Yeah, I like them redoing that scene from the end of the last movie where he's like swinging around with her in his arms, like screaming.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a great Talking Heads song playing. Made it better.
Yes, in fact, this film actually got extra points
Yeah.
for that because I was the only one who was having a great fucking time when that was playing.
Yeah, heard the drum line. I was like, hell yeah.
One of the greatest songs ever made. No one else seemed to appreciate it though, so a bit upset about that, but there you go. No
Yeah.
one's a Talking Heads fan.
Yeah, I don't think I got like any like crowd interaction with the movie in my screening.
Yeah.
That's a
Everyone just kind of
shame.
sat there.
That is a shame because like
It
there's
made it
something
more fun
very
for me,
infectious
yeah.
about it. It like reminded me a lot of when we saw Endgame at the midnight screening, and like everyone was
Everyone was having a great
cheering and
time.
crying and
I
stuff.
didn't get that either.
Well, to be fair, I didn't get a lot of it myself because I fell asleep through Endgame.
Yeah.
So I only
Yeah,
got
you
like bits
fell
and
asleep
pieces.
like through the entire last act of that movie.
Literally the most important half an hour or
Yeah.
so.
I think
fell asleep
didn't you
through it.
fall asleep like when they like brought everyone back and then you woke up at Tony Stark's funeral?
I did
You
indeed.
like missed the entire last
Well,
action scene.
The only good part about it was that Connor had spoiled it for me before we went.
Yeah.
So I knew what was going to happen. So when I eventually fell asleep, I didn't actually really miss anything.
Also, you
because I knew
didn't
what
care to
happened.
begin with.
I didn't care either. And then I went to go see it again like 2 weeks later and I went, oh, so that's what I missed. And I like put it together.
Yeah, it's a shame, you know. I really like throughout it. I was like, oh my god, look at this! This
I
is so
kept doing
cool.
that.
I wanted to scream. It was so cool. The things that were happening.
Should have come with us then, Max. That's what you should have done.
It was too late, man. I'm sorry.
It was a lot of fun. Like there was this one point though where it's like really funny but really awkward. Like this girl's phone had gone off, and everyone was just like laughing. And there was like these guys like coming in and out of the screening constantly, and like both of them like nearly tripped up the stairs as they were running
Yeah.
because they were trying to run
Yeah,
back.
because like someone went to the toilet and came in and saw Andrew Garfield like on the screen because he'd missed him
And then
coming
they,
in,
like,
and he just
stumbled.
ran up the stairs and just fell on the floor.
Man.
That phone bit was really funny because it was when MJ was saying about how like the disappointment line. I can't remember what it was.
Like when Peter
Always
meets her
expects
again.
disappointment and you won't get disappointed, and like this phone just went, I'm not sure I can answer that.
And everyone just started laughing. And I actually thought it was me because I had just turned my phone back on because it was the end of the film. And luckily it wasn't me, but everyone was just like, luckily everyone was laughing. Like no one took it too seriously.
Yeah.
They all just thought it was
It was
funny.
during that last scene where he like sees her in the coffee shop as well.
Yeah, it's
so,
like the first time meeting her. since
people
everyone's
were
forgotten
like
about it.
crying and stuff, and then there was just that bit that made us
Just one
laugh.
bit. There was just one girl who was like, I couldn't tell if she was crying or what, but every now and again she'd go, what? Like just out of
I
nowhere.
noticed that.
And I was like, what the fuck?
There were a lot of
Right.
cries on the screen.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could tell there was a lot like
you
I
could
could
hear a
people
lot of sniffling and
yeah.
stuff.
I don't blame him.
But yeah, it's an emotional movie,
It
so
really
I
is.
get it.
Even I was a little bit upset, to be fair, but I don't think I would have outly like cried at it because
Yeah,
it just
no.
wasn't that kind of thing for
All
me.
that's really well done. Like it's a super, just like really consistent tone,
Yeah,
and they get
Yeah.
it really right. I think probably like if I watch this alone on like my TV at home, I'd probably just cry, to be honest. It is that kind of movie. It's like a culmination of like all the rest of it, and like what the character's gone through, and at the end it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. It's so much to do with like, we've seen this character grow over, like, when was the first one that they did? Like
2017.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
he's been in like so many movies, but like even like Civil War, when was that out? Like,
That was 2016, I think.
So we've had a while with this guy, and it was like, it's basically everything that I wanted to see. As much as I have like just a lot of problems with the movie, I don't really mind, and I appreciate that this is like the best one that they've done for the MCU in terms of the Spider-Man movies. I would like to see them get better, and I mean, if John Watts directs the next 3, like, fine, but I would want him to like improve a bit more. I kind of want that from him, because I do think he is improving. I just don't think I saw his like personality or style with those first 2 movies, whereas I think in this one it kind of shone a bit more.
Yeah, I know with this movie he said he was heavily inspired by Sam Raimi's movies and kind of wanted to like show that off a lot more.
Yeah. You can tell with just how much like people are getting brutalized, just smacked into things. Yeah, it's so cool. Do you guys want to go on to ratings?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do it out of, I don't know. What do we do it out of?
Multiverses.
Okay.
Boring, but sure.
Fine.
Fuck off.
Yeah, this is like, it's definitely the best live action Spider-Man since Spider-Man 2, I'd say. Not quite Spider-Verse level, but nothing is. It's just a lot of fun, really great fan service, visually really just a great time. Got so much out of it. I think I'd give it an 8 multiverses out of 10. Like a low 8, high 7-ish. So right on the border, I'd say.
Yeah. Nothing's going to beat Spider-Verse. I knew that.
No.
I was like teetering on the edge. I was like, oh, is it 7? Is it an 8? And like with that last act, like just so much got like kind of fucked up that I didn't feel like I could like really give it an 8.
That's fair.
I was just like in my own head too much at that last point. I was like, what's happening with this then? How do they figure this out? How's this going to progress from here? And it kind of took me out a bit. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do next with the character. However long away that is. I'm sure I'll be in the next, Avengers fucking 5 or whatever the fuck it is.
I kind of hope it's not another 2-year wait. I hope it's a little bit longer.
Yeah. I kind of want them to flesh out like a really great story that kind of takes place over 3 movies. As much as I like these movies, I think they're all very well contained in their own little bubble. Maybe I'd like to see like a trilogy, like an actual trilogy, instead of like 3 standalone movies that like serve as a trilogy. I'll give it a 7 multiverses out of 10.
I thought Chris was going to go next. That's why
I already went.
You already went.
Oh, sorry.
You're not listening.
No, I was too busy reading a Facebook argument, obviously.
Oh, brilliant.
Sorry, I was just showing Darcy a news notification I got about train fares rising again.
Oh, great.
As if they need to rise anymore because they're already completely and utterly shite. Thank you. That has been my trains announcement. Anyway, I actually had a lot of fun. I kind of expected that I was going to have fun. I thought it was going to be a bit clusterfuckish, like the third Spider-Man film was. Kind of is, to be honest, but I kind of get past it because it wasn't done as badly, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it was a bit better handled.
There's like 3 villains in that Spider-Man 3,
and it was
handled really
terribly.
badly.
Yeah.
Like, there's 5 in this, and it's handled so much better.
It is. I was saying that I didn't really go into it taking it too seriously because obviously I don't care much for the Marvel universe as itself, but like Spider-Man's kind of serious, goofy. So I kind of just went into it thinking, oh, you know, it might be all right. And yeah, had a really great time. So 7.5 multiverses out of 10.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's Spider-Man's. See you in 5 years for the next Spider-Man 1 that we do. And then the next one, we've got the movies, the Christmas movies that we're going to do for episode 60. That's going to be the last episode of the year, I think.
Yeah.
We'll come back. I think that's Christmas Eve release.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We'll come back on the 9th.
Yeah, going to take a couple weeks off.
Yeah. So we're going to do, what are we doing for the Christmas one? Expect discussions on Brazil, Carol, Love Actually, and It's a Wonderful Life. Thank you for listening to the Spider-Man movie marathon. Done it. Now we don't need to do any Spider-Man movies ever again. Literally,
This
never
is the last
again.
time.
We're not going to do the Amazing
We
Spider-Man.
don't need to do any more Spider-Man
There's
movies.
only 2 of those, so it doesn't qualify.
Can add Spider-Verse to the end to make it good.
Nah. Not even then. All
No.
right. Cheers. See you later. Bye.
You're the Spider-Man.